Hey there, just a quick reminder, we have a mentorship program if you're looking for personalized coaching and mentorship to help guide you to the next level of your interior design business, whatever that might look like for you, whether it's processes and procedures or what services to offer to how to incorporate wellness, intention, or spirituality into your projects. Come join us over at designcoven.com/join. Or if you're just in search to connect with other like-minded interior designers, you can join our free community, also located at designcoven.com/join. You're listening to the Holistic Interior Design Business Podcast. This is a podcast that guides you as a new or inspiring independent interior designer navigating your entrepreneurial path. Here, with my over 20 years experience, I will share my holistic approach to design with intention and ancient practices, including feng shui, all incorporating mind, body, and spirit into my design projects. You will also learn from seasoned interior designers as they give strategies and insight of how they built their businesses and continue to work in the field. Together, we will discover supportive trade partners, new ideas, creatives, and inspiring artists from around the world. I am your host, Rachel Larraine Crawford. Hello, and welcome back to the Holistic Interior Design Business Podcast. We are on episode 103. This is the episode all about the Discovery Call Blueprint, a proven framework for interior design success. So I'm talking to you all about the discovery call and giving you a beautiful framework for conducting your discovery call so that you can hone in on your ideal client. You save time and the client's money by getting you in alignment with your ideal client that is situated perfectly between the both of you. So making sure that the alignment is there. Before we get started, I'm going to go ahead and light our candle and pull a card, of course. So connecting with that beautiful fire energy of creativity, connection, all of those good things. And I'm pulling from my Rider-Waite Coleman Smith deck. We tried and true. Let's see what we've got here for today's energy reading, tarot reading. What do we need to know? Oh, we've got the Knight of Pentacles. This is one of my favorite cards because it reminds me to ground, it reminds me to go slow, and it reminds me to take my time. So this is a process, just like anything else. Our businesses are a process, and it's about taking things slowly, being really intentional. Don't rush through anything. Don't force anything. So really sit with it within your body, make sure it feels good, and move one step at a time, slow and steady. All right. So first off, what is a discovery call? A discovery call is the first connection once you receive a lead. It's that meeting that you have in order to discover whether or not you are a good fit with this potential client, and also so that that client can see if you are a good fit for them. This is a meeting to really get to know the client, understand their personality, understand their needs, their preferences, and their styles. This is an opportunity for you to ask your questions. It's also an opportunity for the client to ask you questions. This is one of the most important meetings ever when you're connecting with a potential interior design client. It really is going to be the determining factor whether or not you take the relationship to the next step. So I wanted to give you some tips for a successful discovery call session because these can go bad real fast, or you might just get into a situation that you're not prepared for, and the client just kind of takes over and starts asking you design advice, which is not what this call is all about. So tip number one, you really want to make sure that you are setting dedicated days and times to do these calls. And the reason I say that is because you don't want to be out on a house call or out shopping, and then all of a sudden you have a discovery call that you've got in the middle of the afternoon and you're kind of just thrown off. And then you've got another appointment right after that with maybe, another client that you're in the middle of a remodel with. So you want to really make sure that you're intentional about being present. It's super important to dedicate that time. So For me in particular, I will do my discovery calls on Tuesdays. Tuesdays are my days to be in my office, to be on my computer, to do any virtual meetings so that I'm in that right mindset. And if you're taking all these discovery calls, you're going to be on fire. You're going to feel lit. You're going to be in the mood. You're going to be in the zone to really showcase who you are. So make sure that you're creating a dedicated day. It could be a couple days. It could be, a Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 9 to 10. That's when you do your calls. So just be really diligent as far as what that looks like and stick to it. Second, number two, in order to accomplish this is you're going to want to engage with a program like Calendly that can book your discovery calls in an automated way so that you're not going back and forth with a potential client trying to figure out a day and time, because that's just a waste of everybody's time. So I like to use Calendly. It's super easy. You can connect the link into your website. I know House also has a program that you can book a discovery call within their program to connect with your own personal calendar. But use something. You don't want to be the person in between. It's just a huge waste of everyone's time, and it can get really frustrating when you're just going back and forth just to get discovery call. So use a program so that it's all automated and it's all set up. So then it's like, okay, Tuesdays between 9 and 12, I take my calls, and it's programmed so that no one can schedule a Monday or a Wednesday or any other day besides that Tuesday between 9 and 12. So it's super, super easy. Less stress. Number three, you want to gather as much information from the potential client as you can within that booking link. So you might want to get a budget from them, get a timeline, get their style preferences, any specific needs or challenges that they're going through. And if they've worked with an interior designer, what their experience was, so that you have a bit of a lay of the land before going into this call, so that you can do a little bit of research. Maybe even ask, what type of a project is this? Is this residential? Is it a commercial space? Are we doing a remodel? Are we just doing a refresh? So getting a lot of that information through the Calendly link when they book is going to really set you up for success. And also that's going to ask your budget question, right? And you could even put, frames of, 5 to 10 grand or 10 to 25, 25 to 50, or not sure. So just make sure that you are gathering information so that you're prepared. Number 4 is you really want to set an agenda for this call. So what I like to do is have a list of more questions, more clarifying questions based on the answers that they gave you when they signed up, so that you can get into the nitty-gritty with them and really find out the scope of the project. And if you are a pro member, I am creating a template for all of you for a successful discovery call. So it's going to have your questions that you should be asking. It'll have your agenda. So everything's set up for you. So that's going to be available for pro members within the Design Coven. Tip number 5, you want to set a time limit for this call. You don't want it to go more than 20 minutes max. I usually try to keep these at 15 minutes. That's a really good amount of time just to get the information. You don't want this to bleed on half an hour, where then all of a sudden you're giving away interior design advice. That's not what this call is about. So even when you're booking the call, you might want to put a little note in there and have them check off, I acknowledge this is not a design consultation, it's a discovery call, to make sure that we are a good fit and to assess our needs and make sure that we're in alignment on this project. Tip number 6, you want to listen actively. We spoke about this on the previous episode, being really present. So make sure that all distractions are turned off, that you're completely present with this client. And if that means grounding before the meeting, lighting a candle, creating, some sort of a ritual so that you can get into that frame of work, so that you're totally, totally present and dedicated with that potential client, because they can tell when you're distracted or you're not listening. And the last thing you want to do is to make them feel like they're not being seen or they're not being listened to or heard. Okay. Tip number 7, you really want to be transparent. Be transparent about who you work best with, what type of projects you work on, Your process. So this is the time to talk about your process, talk about your packages and your services. So one thing I forgot to mention before doing this discovery call is that you really need to have clarity over how you work. What are your services? What are your packages? What is your price point for projects? Because you don't want to go into this and you start talking about your process or how you work and you're all over the place. You really want to be clean and clear, super simple about the way you operate, because then that sets the precedent for how you're going to show up in this design project. So, letting them know this is a qualifying feature. Being upfront with them on pricing is huge. That's going to weed them out right away if they're not in alignment with you and what you have to offer. And again, you're going to want to share your process. So if you're the type of designer that does everything on your own, you don't go shopping with the client, you gather information, you present product to them, and you're full service. So you do all the purchasing, you handle everything. You want to make sure that you're telling that up front, because if someone's coming in that's kind of a DIY person that just wants some design advice and wants the designer to pick some things, but then they want to do the legwork, but you don't do that, you want to make sure that you're saying that up front, because then that's going to kind of nip that one in the butt, and then you can move on and get the clients that you're looking for. And then that person can then look for a designer that is going to be better suited for their needs. And you can always refer them to another interior designer. There's so many designers, and I'm sure that all of you know other people. And if you're in the design coven, you know the other designers and you kind of get a sense of their personality. So then you can start referring people that aren't a fit for you. So number 8 is about setting expectations. Again, letting them know what you can do and what you cannot do. So if somebody's bringing a project to you and you know that it is not in your wheelhouse, be very upfront with them and let them know the work that you can do. And then also, talking about time frame, giving them the real about, time frame, how long things are taking, things being on back order, just being real with them up front and letting them know, also if their budget is realistic or not, or if it's not realistic with the type of vendors and manufacturers that you work with, so that they're not, being falsely led in another direction. Number 9 is all about taking notes. And better yet, I always record my discovery call sessions because I do them on Zoom. So hit the record button, get it recorded, because you can then use their verbiage, their language, when you are creating your proposal, when you're writing descriptions of the work that you're providing, so that you're on the same page. And you can also watch that video again, really tap into what their pain points are. So it's just a beautiful way of being present, because knowing that if you don't have to take so many notes and that it's being recorded, you can really be there with the client and then maybe take some notes afterward, rewatch the video. And then number 10 is our last piece. If everything feels good, they are a project that you can work with, they're in a style that you like, your personalities jive, and the pricing seems like there's no sweat. You've given them examples of pricing or where your packages are. Then I will let them know that we can go ahead and schedule a house call for me to come out, do a measure, go over the questionnaire. I'll send you the design proposal and the request for your deposit. And they're like, yep, sweet, send it over. You can email it, schedule that appointment. You're good to go. If the project is one that is something that you haven't quite done before because it's a bigger scope project or there's more sort of components, then and everything feels good, like pricing feels good, personality, all that, then I might make the first house call just so that I can go out and get a better scope of the project so I can give a better proposal. And then you also need to determine if you want to do flat rate, or hourly, however you work. And again, I'm letting them know, okay, we're on good terms. This feels right. I would love to see this project in person. There's so many facets and parts and pieces that I feel like I need to get my head around by being there in person. Let's schedule a call for me to come out and take a look at the project so that I can give you a better idea of what this is going to cost for design services. And I let them know that this is not a interior design consultation. It's really just for me to gather information. I won't be giving any design advice on this call. So you're setting that up front so that they know that they're not You're not there for them to just ask all the questions. And then at the end of everything, if it's not the right client, usually they will kind of, give you the signs of, oh, let me talk to my partner, or yeah, that's a bit more out of our budget, or I need to think about it. Then you can kind of be like, okay, no problem, go ahead and think about it. Or if they want to move forward with you, but you're not feeling it's right, then you can let them know that you need to get back to them, look at your schedule, give them a price. So you might even want to bump up that price even more if it's something that's not right, or just be upfront with them and let them know, currently I don't have the capacity to take on a project like this, or, this project is a bit too small for what I'm used to or what we're looking at bringing on. Or, we have a 6-month lead time before we take on any new project. So kind of just leading them, letting them down softly is always nice, but just being upfront and authentic and true to them as far as whether or not that project is a fit. Or you can even just say, the style of the project really isn't in our wheelhouse. We don't work in that particular style. I can give you a suggestion of somebody who does, or your project is too small, or, just being upfront, I feel like is really the best way to let them down. But yeah, if you have any questions, again, I'm always open. Feel free to connect with me. And Pro members, you will be getting that discovery call blueprint in your membership. So look forward to connecting with all of you then. Alrighty, until next time, I will see you soon, and happy designing. You've been listening to the Holistic Interior Design Business podcast. If it's one that you have been enjoying, please share with anyone else that you think can benefit from this knowledge, and leave us a 5-star review. That helps us get seen and found by other new and aspiring interior designers. And if you're looking for mentorship, I invite you to join our club here at the Design Coven. It's a bridge between school and real life interior design. We get in much deeper there. We have virtual and in-person events, so everyone is welcome. You don't need to have a design degree to be part of it, just an interest in holistic interior design. I also want to thank our editor, Marcy Ferry, Blake Ferris, for all of her special help with the podcast, our social media posts, newsletter, and lastly, Kinseth Thibodeau, who is our music composer. Until next time, be well, and we will see each other soon.